Make love to me.
No way, lady. My motto is make war, not love. Take a hike now and we'll just forget this evening ever happened.
Do you always trust the people you make love to, Ian?
Don't know, would you call that a trust exercise?
Maybe I do it. It's not much exercise.
blind faith of some kind.
Not last long enough to get a sweat up.
Okay.
Cut that out.
Trust you.
Hey. But enough about our exercises, Ian. How are you, you slime ball?
I'm not too bad, Gerry. How are you this week?
Yeah, brilliant.
That's good.
Yeah.
Not too worn out.
Not at all. Yeah. Oh yeah, I could do this all night.
Fantastic.
That's one thing I could do. So, back to a more orthodox episode this week.
Sure. Not a great one, but orthodox.
You didn't think it was a great one?
No.
Oh, well, I suppose...
There's a particular reason that I didn't think it was a great one.
Right, well...
We'll get to it.
We'll get to that. No, I like this episode. It was fun. There were some very good lines in it, I thought.
Sure.
But there were some flaws, some character flaws.
Yes.
Ah, is that... Okay.
That was my problem.
That was your problem. Yeah, we'll chat through it. I think Sledge gets a bit of a raw deal.
Absolutely.
From those who... Yeah, from those who would expect more from. I'm not talking about Daly, I'm not talking about Mayjoy, and I'm not talking about the rest of the precinct who I've seen in the past can be quite unpleasant to Sledge. But I'm talking about his, the only two friends he has.
That's right, his gun.
And his other gun. His backup gun.
His target.
No, we'll chat through this as we progress. But before we can progress, I need something from you, Ian.
What do you need?
Don't worry. It won't be anything to do with exercising.
That's helpful.
Well, unless you include exercising your tongue.
Well, it's always in need of a good workout.
Fancy a summary?
Why not?
Crack on.
In Wild About Hammer, a new member of the police force takes an apparent shine to Sledge, damaging his relationships with Dory and the rest of the team. When Hammer and Doreau's partnership proves too tough to break, a violent showdown becomes inevitable. A cop will die, but which one? Hammer, Doreau, or their new colleague? Only time will tell.
We begin this week on the street, as we did last week.
Yeah, we've got back to the longer credits again, normal length, 59 seconds or so, and the usual font.
A sax plays over the cityscape.
Do you think it was Bob Holness playing the sax on this episode?
Could have been. Is that not an urban myth?
It is.
I'm not sure if that's a myth, but I think Bob Holness also played, was he the first James Bond?
And the radio? Yes,
Yeah.
I believe so.
Anyway, back to Sledgehammer. We see Dory and himself walking along, and Sledge talks about having what?
Meters.
Yeah, for people.
Loiterers, I agree.
Yes.
Not just loiterers, people who walk slowly.
Well, this is, I think, quite cliched, but I do think you should have a fast lane and a slow lane. The inside lane beside the shop windows should be a slow lane, so if you want to stop and meander, you can. But if you're trying to get to your work or from your work or to the station or whatever, there should be a charging along, head down lane to get by.
Yeah, and then you could complain about the folk who don't go as fast as you want to in that lane.
Okay, you'd have two lanes, sort of...
An overtaking lane.
An overtaking lane, yeah.
And what if folk went to the other direction?
Oh, don't confuse me. As they're discussing this, Sledge orders some street food.
Nowadays, this wouldn't be funny. I didn't get the joke in this.
Oh, really? Even it'll look. So I'm not a massive fish fan, okay? Anyway, but this looked repulsive.
No, sushi is just raw fish for the most part. I think.
Yeah, no,
it's
but
also so ubiquitous now. I don't think someone would. I mean,
no, it's not. No, I'm not talking about sushi. I'm talking about having it on a bun. That just I like lots of, but you wouldn't put lots of things on a bun. It's just
fusion
disgusting.
cuisine. Fusion cuisine.
No.
That's what this is.
And it was so big and sloppy.
They could have put mustard on it. That would have been the perfect combination.
So, would you eat that?
It depends which fish it was, I guess. I like sushi.
Yeah, I know, but that was. Oh no! It gave me
the boat.
Yeah.
Dory's appetite is also immediately lost.
Why?
Because she doesn't like fish any more than you do.
No, it's not so much fish. It's just that
the raw fish on the bun.
On the bun, yeah. Ugh.
So if it's wrapped in rice, you'd be fine with it. And seaweed.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It's like you wouldn't put a big trout in a sandwich, would you, like that?
No.
But you might like trout.
Yes.
Anyway, what are we talking about? What happens next?
You hear gunshots and a villain looking to escape in a car.
Correct. There's an armed robbery, and Sledge, who again talks to his gun.
For no reason here.
Nope. In the past, Sledge used to talk to the gun, I believe, when he was feeling vulnerable, when he was unsure of himself. In a quiet moment, when he needed his confidence built, or...
I always thought it's like an internal monologue, but out loud to his gun.
Yeah, now it's just every opportunity.
It's like he's commentating on his own life.
Anyway, he pulls the gun out, and he fires a few shots at the oncoming getaway car, and is then thrown on top of the hood.
He's hit quite violently by the car and remains on the hood.
Mm-hmm. They drive around for a while until what?
It's a head-on collision with a police car.
Mm-hmm. The police car is driven by an officer, Elizabeth Jenkins, who is uninjured, gets out, helps with the arrest, and is very impressed by Sledge's heroic actions.
Yes, it's written all over her face. She's very impressed with Sledge generally.
Sledge, however, admits that his actions are perhaps not as heroic as she might think.
Yeah, his sleeve was caught in the windscreen wiper.
He couldn't get off. We're over to Trunk's office, and he's unconvinced as Dory tells him about what Sledge was up to and that his behaviour was well intentioned.
Yeah, I don't think Sledge's done anything wrong again. They're trying to blame him for the crash.
No, there was these armed robbers coming towards him. He was taking aim and having a shot, and they mowed him down.
Yes.
In the end, he apprehended them. No members of the public were hurt, and job well done.
Yeah.
Trunk then briefs the two of them on a new case. The murder of a detective from a sister precinct, and the cop was apparently stabbed 17 times in the back, and Trunk is not amused with Sledge's suggestion that, what?
It could have been suicide if he was very limber.
He does the actions of how he...
Yeah. And he doesn't say anything. Trunk just kind of points to the door, and as they leave, he goes to chug his Pepto-Bismol.
Yes. We've seen that a few times in this season.
Again, it's a trope that's been amped up.
Yeah. In the outer office, Sledge complains about Trunk's lack of faith in his theories before finding out more about the victim.
Why doesn't the captain ever give my theories consideration?
Probably because you're usually wrong. Remember the time you tried to link the Jimmy Hoffa disappearance to the recent Jackson tour?
Hey, any guy who wears one glove and walks backwards is not to be trusted.
Oh, this is interesting. According to this, the late Detective Ginsburg and you shared one thing in common. He openly refused to be partnered with women. Ginsburg, like you, was a misogynist.
Whoa, 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 little lady. Just because I gave a guy a back rub once does not make me a misogynist.
Sledge, why don't we go to that other precinct tomorrow and conduct some interviews? Meet you here at 8 o'clock.
Good masculine thinking, Jerome. You're losing more and more of your femininity every day. It's very attractive.
Now, Sledge may well be a misogynist, but I think this is the first instance of him being unfairly treated in this episode.
Maligned.
Why is that?
He doesn't refuse to have a female partner. He's got a female partner. He's had a female partner the entire time the show's been on.
Precisely. He was a little bit...
dubious, maybe?
Yeah,
But she
apprehensive.
proved her worth very quickly to him. He was impressed with her in the first time they met.
Yeah, they were introduced and of that day, in the future, and of that day, they were a partnership.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this isn't fair.
No, it's completely unfair.
And Sledge was also right about Jackson.
Well, less said about that.
I mean, he's one for the watching.
Sure. There were issues
He's not
there.
to be well, I think Sledge says he's not to be trusted, and I wouldn't trust Michael Jackson. I'm not sure why, but yeah.
I'm too young to remember all the Jackson stuff.
I don't think you can be too young.
Anyway.
Oh, and you'd be a boy.
Sure.
Okay.
Sledge says because he gave a guy a back rub once does not make him a misogynist. Now, do you think he's mixing up misogyny with massage, or do you think he's mixing up misogyny with homosexuality?
Let's be kind and say massage. That makes more sense as well.
It's a better joke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. As they wait for an elevator to arrive, Jenkins appears, and I think from the elevator that opens up and introduces herself.
Yeah, it turns out she's got a partner with very brittle arms.
Yeah, why is that?
Well, in that very slow speed car chase, he broke both his arms and suffered multiple concussions.
And as Dory describes her, she is a regular Hammer groupie, clearly very taken by him and his attitudes.
Thinks his actions were completely justified.
You can see Hammer is quite happy. His ego has been given a little boost here by this.
Yeah, he likes what she said. I don't think he's noticed the fact that she's meant to be, inverted commas, attractive as she's played. But he likes what she said.
Yeah.
Completely not misogynist.
And then Sledge does not see his masculine competence as a laughing matter.
Yes, the competency he projects.
Yeah, before he turns around and walks straight into the elevator door.
A great moment also of self-awareness when, without Dory having to say a word, he just tells her to shut up. There's more masculine competence at the start of the next scene as he washes the dishes.
Yes, it's a TV dinner tray.
That's it.
Before, again, talking to
This was stupid.
Gunny. Yeah, and he selects some video viewing for the night's entertainment.
Yeah. The idea of a video target practice thing is hilarious, but he's not an idiot. Why would he shoot his telly?
Yeah, well, it is a little bit of an idiot.
He would know what would happen if he shot his telly.
Yeah, he would know that. I think there's a selection of gun-themed parody titles that he chooses from.
There are.
But yeah, he puts on the home target
Home video target range.
and blasts away his TV set. I did like his line after that. He asked Gunny to remind him not to rent that again. It's too expensive.
Yeah.
The doorbell goes.
Or the door knocks, one of the two.
Mm-hmm. Who is it?
It's Jenkins. Bizarrely greets Hammer with a kiss.
Yes, she makes herself feel very much at home immediately.
Fair enough, if they were dating or something, to maybe be a bit overeager and he doesn't understand it. They've spoken twice for a few seconds, and to greet him in this way is very weird.
Yeah, it's almost as if she's mentally unwell.
Who can say?
She's there to make him dinner, and perhaps she has something else in mind for dessert.
Yeah, I think she's got a bit of a plan for the evening, shall we say. She's kind of fantasised how this is going to go, and she just assumes Sledge will go along with her plan.
Did you like Sledge's next line?
Which one?
It says he doesn't want a strange woman in his kitchen. If he did, he would still be married.
Yes. Well, these folk that marry strange women.
Yeah.
He doesn't like her being there at all. You can see he's immediately uncomfortable.
Yes.
I mean, I think nowadays you might be even more uncomfortable because I think people are a bit more paranoid now about allegations and things like that.
Definitely.
Being alone with someone you don't know whether you can trust them.
Yeah, with a complete bunny boiler. She does not take no for an answer and insists that they both feel the same electricity that they witnessed during their first meeting. But Sledge says he doesn't feel much from the neck up. Now, it's an odd... At first I thought, has he got that wrong?
Yeah.
But I suppose if you don't feel much in terms of your thoughts, but then from the neck down is the more general...
she's more interested in. Yeah, she wants him to get excited and he's just not.
No, and even after a number of compliments, Sledge does not change his mind. She doesn't take this rejection well.
Hey, Jenkins, everybody likes a compliment once in a while, but you've taken things way too far. The last person who invaded my privacy here got pistol whipped. Dang fool should have left the second I agreed to buy those encyclopedias.
Baby, you can pistol whip me anytime.
What is the matter with you, Jenkins? Cops are supposed to use excessive force, not request it. I want you out of here pronto. I gotta get up early tomorrow morning and meet my partner.
Your partner? You mean that common trollop I encountered back at the station, that tramp?
Now that does it. Nobody berates my partner except me. And the only reason I give her such a hard time is to keep her at a distance. Vulnerability in law enforcement can be fatal.
I'm willing to risk it.
Can't you get the message? I'm not in the mood. I'm throwing you out of here.
No, please, baby, please, let me stay. I want to stay. I promise I'll be good or bad or whatever you want me to be. I love you. Love me.
A quite desperate plea there for him to love her.
Yeah, very desperate. As he drags her out, what happens? We heard at the end of the clip there.
Yeah, she breaks his family lamp. It's an item that is very meaningful to Sledge.
Yes, it was the lamp that electrocuted his grandfather.
Yes.
She asks then to be punished.
Yes, she does. And then when he threatens to call the police, she tries to confuse him by saying they are the police. And then starts screaming and yelling out the window that he's taking advantage of her, trying to ruin his reputation.
Yes, she essentially flips. before breaking down, and Sledge tells her that she needs to get professional help. I think that's quite accurate. I think it's quite professional of him.
Yes, he also suggests that it should be from someone who will give her a lobotomy.
Yeah, that's not quite as professional. Not quite as accurate.
Yeah, she wants something from him. We heard at the top of the show.
Yes, she wants to be made love to, but he refuses. And at this point, she pulls a gun and takes her coat off to reveal some racy lingerie. Sledge, however, is more impressed with her gun.
Yes, he admits that it's an impressive piece of machinery.
Not amused, she says that she was here to pledge allegiance to him and follow any command, and Sledge tells her to stop quoting Oliver North and give up the gun. Oliver North, did that mean anything to you?
That's the Iran-Contra affair, isn't it?
Ah, yes, well done, Ian. Thought you might be too young to know about that.
A little bit, maybe, but
Yeah.
I know the phrase.
Sure. So as he tries to take it from her, she shoots and she catches the side of his head and knocks him unconscious.
Yeah, it's weird though, because she looks kind of panicked when she shoots, as if she didn't mean to do it.
Well, unless she's done that before, I would suggest that anytime you hurt someone, harm someone with a gun or any sort of weapon, even if you mean it, there must be an initial shock, like, oh, I've actually done this.
Maybe.
I think it's a reasonable reaction.
We hear the neighbours through the walls.
Yep, and I think one of them says, "Did you hear shots there?" And the
Oh,
response
so it's from Sledgehammer's apartment. It's like,
yeah. Well, we've seen that many times. He fires off a round or two, probably every night.
it's like the sheep who called wolf. No, the boy who called wolf.
Boy,
about the sheep
boy
with
called
the,
sheep.
The wolf with the sheep. Wolf in sheep's clothing with the boy.
That's the one. Hickory dickory dock.
Back at the precinct.
Dory is concerned that Sledge is more than his usual 30 minutes late.
Yeah, apparently he's quite punctual about that.
Yes, he's very particular about it.
Yeah.
So she calls his apartment and is shocked to hear Jenkins answer the phone.
Yeah, before Jenkins picks up the phone, did you hear what Hammer was mumbling?
Rosebud?
Rosebud, yes.
What does Jenkins say to Dory?
She explains that Hammer is too tired from their night together to come in for a few days, and he had a message for Dory. She was to get lost.
Yeah. Now that must set alarm bells ringing. I don't think Dory would believe Hammer
Yeah.
would say such a thing.
Why would she? It makes no sense. Especially, we've literally just heard Hammer explain something quite profound. We didn't talk about it there. During the clip, he talks about why he keeps Dory at a distance. And it's because he cares about her and he doesn't want to be this vulnerability to come into their police work. But she's willing to believe on the word of a stranger, essentially, that Hammer's want her to get lost.
Now, we give Jenkins a bye because she's not well,
Yeah.
but Dory should not be accepting any of this.
No, at least questioning it.
At least get round to his apartment immediately.
Yeah, or maybe not want to invade his privacy. She knows he likes his privacy, but I would have thought that she would have given him a chance to explain himself.
He deserves the benefit of the doubt.
I would say so. We see him asleep for a while longer, and then it cuts to him arriving at the precinct the next day.
He has a plaster on his wound, and when he arrives at the front desk, Mayjoy seems to have the wrong impression about what Sledge had got up to, and he calls him a degenerate.
He does. Mayjoy's not really often friendly with Sledge, but he seems particularly upset.
And then Daly appears, and what does she do?
She just slaps him when he asks about Jenkins.
Yeah. He goes over to the desk where Dory is sitting, and she's clearly not happy, and reveals that everyone in the precinct has heard about what happened, or what supposedly happened, the previous night.
Yeah. Now, a couple of things. This is what made me not like the episode, is the fact that nobody gives him the benefit of the doubt, particularly Trunk and Dory. But the other thing is, in 1987, I would have thought, or I would not have thought, that
Careful.
these guys in the police force, with the characters that we've seen established, folk like Mayjoy, would really care about someone having been accused of sexually harassing someone.
Yes. Okay, so a couple of things. I agree that in the 80s, the culture of the police force would be not as understanding or as it is today.
This is a thing that alpha males do.
Yes. However, what I would say is that perhaps, I mean, the show is a comedy show, perhaps the implication, without saying it, was that it wasn't merely what you class as sexual harassment, trying it on. Perhaps they're trying to imply that Sledge went further.
Forced himself on.
And it was rape, effectively. But obviously this type
Without
of show,
saying it.
the show's not going to go down the route of rape, and it's a comedy
Yeah.
show. But I think that's perhaps what they're suggesting has happened.
And that's why you get this reaction.
Yes, so even back in the 80s, this wouldn't be acceptable. Now, that's me giving the show the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
You know, we're not talking about a slap on the backside, which is utterly unacceptable, but as you say, back in the day would have perhaps been...
Yeah, it's not the action that we're saying. I'm saying is fine. I'm just saying that the reaction from these other police officers is not in keeping with what I would have imagined.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So perhaps it was more serious than what the show...
But
actually
even
was.
with what you're saying, I would have thought some of them were thinking, you know, if the girl agrees to go back to your house, who am I to judge you?
Yeah, I think we've probably looked into this a little bit more than...
It's a comedy show. Let's just get
Yeah.
on by.
I think the point we're trying to make is that the rest of the precinct don't like Hammer. We accept that, but we would expect far more from Trunk and Dory, who are friends, who care about Hammer. And it's not just that. This is utterly out of character. Hammer has never in any way acted in any sort of manner which would suggest that this is the type of thing he would do.
Yeah, and also every time he's been around Jenkins, Dory's been there and observed that he's not shown any particular interest in her.
Yeah. So, very unfair.
Yeah.
Anyway, where were we?
Trunk summons... Well, first of all, he tries to speak to Dory.
Dory, I think, basically just says she's saddened and disappointed.
Essentially, yeah, she doesn't talk to him about it at all.
Yeah, doesn't ask for his side of the story.
No.
Doesn't even give him that courtesy. Tell me what happened. Did you do that? Did you do this, Hammer? Or tell me what happened.
Yeah.
Give
no,
me.
It's just what she says is true. You are a bad man.
Yeah.
I'm very
So
sad.
she believes a stranger over her.
Yeah,
her
I thought I
partner.
knew you better and all this.
And we've in the past, on many occasions, we've seen them both stand up for each other. Their
Yeah.
partners, they stick together through thick and thin. They've nearly died on many occasions.
Absolutely. He's been there for her.
Yeah.
She's been there for him.
But one random accusation and suddenly,
From someone they don't know.
Yeah.
It's not even like it's a long-term colleague. If Daly had said this,
Yeah.
you can understand Dory might think, well, yeah, she probably wouldn't make that up.
Yeah.
But this person they don't know.
So this particular dynamic has been poorly written. It's not consistent with what we know.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah. Okay, we've established that. We hear Trunk demanding probably one of his most intimidating...
Yeah, this is wrong as well. He shouldn't be calling Hammer into the room with the woman in the room.
Oh, yeah, that's...
Terrible procedure.
Yes, horrible procedure. He has news for Hammer, and it's not good.
That's her, the devil woman. Dive for cover.
Who said that weapon? Your career as a cop just ended today. I said put it away.
Now hold off, Captain.
I don't want to hear a sound coming out of that hole in your face. You've really bought it this time, Hammer. You have really bought it. Officer Jenkins here is leveling charges against you for sexual harassment.
What? That's crazy. The only thing I'm involved with is my gun, and it's strictly a monogamous relationship.
Well, according to this affidavit, she states that you coerced her into your apartment with the intent of an assignation.
She didn't want an assignation. She wanted to get it on. Captain, Jenkins is not playing with a full deck. She ordered me to make love to her at gunpoint. That's not exactly what I call safe sex. Look at this. Crazy broad shot at me.
Well, according to her report, she did that in self-defense. She is also pressing charges against you for assault.
Assault? Assault? That's the most ridiculous thing I ever heard. Why, I oughta...
That's enough, Hammer. There's going to be a full departmental inquiry into this matter. This is the most shameful occurrence that's ever happened at my precinct.
How could it be worse than the time I busted the visiting pope for loitering?
Sledge goes on to insist that this never happened and says that for the first time in his life he is innocent.
Apart from that time with the court case last season. Oh, of course, this is before that. I'm confused.
Yeah. However, Trunk doesn't give him the benefit of the doubt and he relieves him of his badge.
Well, Trunk makes his position quite clear. He says he doesn't want to hear anything coming out of the hole in Hammer's face, so he's not interested in this side of the story. He's not prepared to consider that this might not be true. He's decided. It's done.
Sledge hands over his badge and...
Yeah, Trunk says you've hurt me for the last time, I think, and then Hammer stabs him with the badge accidentally, which is unfortunate.
And then we have a downbeat score as a dejected Sledge leaves the precinct. But Dory catches something.
Well, this annoys me as well. So Dory, at this point, still thinks Hammer did something wrong. And it's only because she sees Jenkins grinning that she starts to wonder.
Yeah.
So nothing that Hammer did, not her faith in her partner or her knowledge of his behaviours or character, just the fact she saw this woman grinning, which suggested to her there might be something amiss.
I'm disappointed in them both.
Yeah. I think they are not treating their friend the way he deserves to be treated.
However, we go to the female locker room and Dory is waiting on Jenkins, and while she lists Sledge's less than positive traits, she claims she knows him better than that, and that the accusations made by Jenkins should be able to stand up to some scrutiny.
I thought the locker room at the police house was remarkably similar to the generic university locker room.
Ah, yes. Remarkably similar. It's almost as if they wouldn't have went to the expense of building two different sets.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a bit of a sort of discussion between Dory and Jenkins.
Yes, but I mean, Jenkins very quickly turns on the mask slips and she turns on Dory.
She doesn't like Dory and she's not going to try and hide that, I don't think.
Oh, she storms off, leaving Dory to high kick open her locker.
Well, before she leaves, she says, "Don't look in my locker."
Yeah, fair enough.
I might as well have said, "Look in my locker."
So Dory does one of her famous high kicks and opens it up to find what?
Clippings of the Ginsburg case, who's that policeman that was murdered at the 33rd precinct. And obviously, as the killer, you would keep clippings of your own murder in the locker.
One with a dart through it.
Yeah, just to make it clear.
Yeah, not sure you can put a dart into a metal locker.
Maybe there's a bit of blue tack behind the picture and it's into that.
Could be.
While Dory's looking at this, Jenkins returns and sneaks up behind her and knocks her out.
And she's about to carry her out when Officer Daly appears.
Yeah, she wonders what's happened and Jenkins explains.
Yes, she fainted.
Because she heard that Moonlighting wasn't a rerun this week.
Yeah, having a little dig about that. I think we mentioned that those references last week.
Yeah, presumably Moonlighting's what they're up against, so if it's not a rerun, then Hammer will get lower ratings in theory.
Back to Sledge's apartment.
Yeah, he's listening to the radio.
Nope, he's listening to his own brand of...
Well, it's French
it's
lessons on,
teach yourself
on the record
French on
player.
a record. Yeah, not even a CD or a tape, it's a record player. That's
Yeah.
quite cumbersome, isn't it?
I'm not sure it's the most efficient way to learn French.
No. And the phone rings. Who is it?
It's Jenkins. She has his slut of a partner. I'm quoting there, it's not my words.
No. And he has to come over and play immediately.
Or else.
Sledge seems delighted by this.
Or at least he's not unhappy.
No, he talks to his gun again.
I just ignored that.
Yeah.
Oh, meanwhile, Jenkins inhales something, laughing gas or something, I guess.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in
Nitrous
a bit of trivia.
oxide.
Yes. So we head over to the apartment and we see that Dory is tied to a chair. Because of this laughing gas, Jenkins is clearly unhinged.
Yeah, off the wall crazy. I mean, she's come unravelled rather rapidly.
Sledge kicks open the front door and then backs into a cactus.
It's very Wile E. Coyote, isn't it?
He then finds Dory, and as he attempts to release her from her shackles, he's attacked from behind with Jenkins, and the quite familiar end of episode fight breaks out.
Yes, she's got a knife. He dodges the first blow and wrestles her. He loses his gun. Dory kind of wobbles over on the chair and kicks the knife away and breaks the chair to get free. Jenkins isn't prepared to give up.
No, rather than do so, she charges at them.
Yes.
And what happens?
When they started wrestling, Sledge and Jenkins fell on a glass table and upset a fruit bowl.
Mm-hmm.
So as she runs over, she steps on a banana, slips, goes through the window and out into the ocean.
Yes, not just the ocean, but the rocks
Yes.
that the ocean sprays up onto.
Yeah. Dory thinks that's the end of things, but Sledge isn't certain.
No, he suggests that maybe she has an evil twin sister or a twin sister.
Is that a movie reference?
I think it's a cliche from these sort of B movies that,
Right.
or even soap operas back in the day. I think
Yeah.
type of thing Dallas might have had when it started to get a little bit ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, the case is closed now. And they go to the epilogue, which is an unusual opening.
The following tag was shot in black and white, then artificially recolored. We promise you will not be able to see the difference.
According to our findings, Elizabeth Jenkins escaped 6 months ago from a home.
You mean at home?
That is correct. And apparently, while there, she became obsessed with TV police shows. Upon escaping, Jenkins used falsified records to enroll herself in the police academy.
So after being stationed at the 33rd, she naturally fixated on a cliched macho cop like Ginsburg. And when he rejected her psychotic advances, she killed him.
That's right. And then transferred here, where another similar murder almost occurred.
Hold it. You two expect me to believe that somebody with serious mental problems was able to slip through our screening process and become a cop? How could something as obscene as that happen?
That's not the question, Hammer. The question is, how could it have happened again?
My theory is someone spilled their tea on that, the only copy of that film, and they thought, we better cover this up somehow. What's your thoughts?
I think it's just the writers and perhaps Alan Spencer playing around.
Oh, you think it's deliberate?
Yeah.
I reckon the film got damaged. And they had to cover for it. They're like, we're not filming this again. It's too expensive. We're using this film. How can we cover this?
That'd be nice to imagine, but I think it was a joke.
Well,
maybe Alan Spencer can let us know if he's listening in.
Someone could ask him. Someone who listens to this could maybe ask him.
Yeah, tweet Alan Spencer and ask him about that.
That's it.
Cheers.
No apology for Sledge from either of these people in this epilogue, you'll note. And he seems to have forgiven them being the bigger man.
Yeah, I felt quite sorry for Sledge.
I don't think he was treated fairly at all.
No, even at the start of the episode, he was badly treated. You know, he did his job. He stopped a couple of, or three robbers. And he was given a hard time for that.
Yep.
He was poorly treated. I'd have expected a lot better.
I hope for better next week.
Yeah, they'll need to make it up to him. In fairness, when you consider all the things that Sledge has done to them over the years, even last week cost Dory 6 months' pay.
No, she was only out for a week.
Yeah, but he could have.
In theory, yeah. But he has to take responsibility for her own actions.
Yeah, but he has behaved quite badly himself. But that doesn't excuse this behaviour.
No. It's a different sort of bad behaviour as well.
Yes. Yeah, he always shows loyalty and trust. That's
Absolutely.
The thing. And he's always doing bad things for with the right intentions.
That's it.
Okay, will we quickly run through the production information trivia this week?
Let's speed through it. We've overrun already this week.
October the 8th, 1987 was the original air date, and it was directed by Gary Walkow, his first of 3 Sledgehammer episodes. He's a director-writer who has also been involved with The Trouble with Dick, She-Wolf of London, Crashing, and Love Machine 4.0. High art, obviously.
I'm sure.
He has also written a book of poems called Bad Sex.
He seems to have a one-track mind, this guy.
Yes. Alan Spencer was the writer this week.
Okay.
Yeah. So the episode that you said you didn't like, this is the only episode you've said, I don't like this episode.
There's very specific things in the writing that I didn't like in this episode.
We really need to find out a little bit more about, perhaps this is one of the episodes that Alan himself might have said, you know what, didn't get that quite right.
Maybe.
We'll find out, hopefully.
Hopefully.
Some of the guest stars. Okay, interesting. So, there only was Beverly Leach who played
Jenkins.
Yeah, we've discussed her before.
Have we?
Yes, she was the reporter, Amy Porter.
Oh, with the mind control?
Yes, first episode,
She's
yes.
in court.
A Clockwork Hammer. Yeah. So we've discussed her. So I thought I would take this opportunity to quickly chat about David, Anne-Marie and Harrison.
Who are these people? I've never heard of them.
So, David Rash, he plays Inspector Sledgehammer. He's born in 1944, and he has been in Burn After Reading, Cobra. Recently, he's in Impastor, Veep.
Burn After Reading's great, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Bored to Death, Rubicon, Ugly Betty, 38 episodes of All My Children, High Society, 46 episodes of Nurses, and 34 episodes of Ryan's Hope. So, he's had a fairly prolific career.
This is 26th of 41 appearances in Sledgehammer.
Yeah, it is. As we know and have discussed, he has been in an episode of Columbo, A Trace of Murder, but he has also been in an episode of Mrs. Columbo. He replaced John Belushi as a member of Chicago's Second City comedy troupe, and I think in general he's regarded as being a bit of an all-round good guy.
That's good.
Yeah, everyone who's came into contact with him has said, yep, nice fellow, always chats away, not heard a bad word about him. I'd like to meet him.
There you go.
I like to have a milk or a root beer with them.
You're thinking of the character now, aren't you?
Yeah.
You want to meet
I
Sledgehammer.
want to meet Sledgehammer.
That must be really annoying for him. It's like the folk who meet Harrison Ford and talk to him about as if he's Han Solo.
Probably more annoying if you're a wannabe actor, have done nothing of note and your career ends and no one wants to talk to you at all.
It's quite sad.
Yeah. Anne-Marie Martin plays Detective Dory DeRoe. She's born in 1947 as Edmonda Eddie Benton. She is the ex-wife of Michael Crichton. They were divorced in 2002, so before his untimely and early death. She has starred in Prom Night, Days of Her Life, T.J. Hooker, B.J. and the Bear, Buck Rogers and Rafferty, but is most famous for this role in Sledgehammer. And in fact, this was her last acting appearance. She retired after Sledgehammer.
To live with her horses.
Yes, she...
Well, she had a sort of was it a writing or production credit on Twister.
Yep, she co-wrote Twister with Michael Crichton.
There you go.
And as you mentioned there, yes, she retired to spend time riding and working with horses, and I think she was a professional horse rider. Harrison Page plays Captain Trunk. He's born in 1941, known for Steepy O'Sharkey back in the sort of 70s, 80s. He was one of the stars, one of the main stars, 36, 37 episodes, I think. He was in AWOL, also known as Lionheart, Jag, ER, Ally McBeal, Ultraman, Give Me a Break, Hill Street Blues, Supertrain, lots of things. A character actor over the years.
Columbo, yeah.
He was also in an episode of Columbo where he played Detective Brown. That was Undercover.
He was the one with the crazy trousers.
Yes.
Yeah. Folks should go and look that one up.
Yeah.
Only for the trousers.
Yeah. Well, he gave the crazy trousers to Columbo.
He did.
So we've discussed this before, not a great Columbo episode, but I think we both enjoyed it.
That's my recollection.
Okay, some trivia about this week's show. So the Oxygen Mask was a parody of Dennis Hopper's character in Blue Velvet. Now, at the time, I think people thought that Sledgehammer was simply having a joke at the expense of asthma sufferers, but that wasn't the case.
Makes no sense.
It doesn't make any sense at all, does it?
Those wacky asthma sufferers.
Yeah, let's pick on them.
I'll teach them, bring them down a peg or two.
This was one of Anne-Marie Martin's favourite episodes, and she especially enjoyed being tied to the chair.
I thought she made some really weird noises in that scene. In fact, I found it distracting.
Okay. The title of this week's episode is in reference to Wild About Harry, which was a song from 1921, and it was used in Harry Truman's 1948 presidential race campaign. That was the theme tune to it.
Dewey defeats Truman.
Favourite lines? Or line?
It was the one about the encyclopedias.
Okay, mine was about this potential suicide after being stabbed 17 times in the back. Next week we have Death of a Few Salesmen.
Okay, I've heard of Death of a Salesman.
Uh-huh.
Arthur Miller?
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Ex-husband of Marilyn Monroe.
Talk about that next week, I guess.
If you want.
Sure, it might come up, you know.
Okay, that's us. Let's wrap things up.
Okay, meantime, social media at Sledgecast, Facebook and Twitter. Rate, review on iTunes. Subscribe if you want, even if you don't listen there. It's great for other people to help them find the show, and we want them all to do that. And sledgehammerpodcast.com. There will be a post up about this and indeed each and every episode where you can talk about your favourite bits and generally poke fun at things that Gerry said that are stupid.
Okay, that's us.
That's us, yep. Cheerio.
Bye-bye.